If you thought Donkey Kong Bonanza was repetitive, you are not ready for this. I thought I'd do a quick little recording here to to play a little bit Donkey Kong 64. This came out on Switch Online with the expansion pack. Pack? It's either pack or pass, and I never remember which one it is. And I thought I'd record playing through the first level, just for the sake of having something to record. In case you aren't aware of Donkey Kong 64, it has a bit of a reputation for being kind of rough. But despite that, it is, of course, a 3D platformer from the 90s, and so it has an audience, and I'm kind of part of that audience. The first level is good. I enjoy the first level of the game. After that, it gets a little more flaky, a little more not quite as good as something like Banjo-Kazooie, but I still think it has more going for it than it has going against it. And I just kind of thought, yeah, let's have some fun. Let's play a little bit of one of my nostalgias, because why not? Last time I played a Donkey Kong thing was already a nostalgia with the DK Isle DLC for Donkey Kong Bonanza. Here's a link to it in the top right corner of the screen. Wow. It is kind of funny that one of the most recent videos on the channel, which, to be fair, there aren't very many recent videos, but one of the most recent videos is me playing a Donkey Kong thing, the most recent Donkey Kong thing, in fact, and now I'm playing an old Donkey Kong thing, because of poetry or whatever. Is that meme still alive? In case you are new to the channel, which, considering this game just came out on Switch Online, there's a good chance that YouTube recommended it to you, in which case, welcome. I do not play games particularly well, necessarily. This is not a speedrun, as you can tell, because, yikes, it's a pretty slow speedrun. And I am not going to be playing through the entire game. This isn't a series, this is just a one-off. And, yeah, we're just gonna have a little bit of fun going through a monkey game. One of my childhood monkey games. Weirdly, I've played this when I was a very young child, probably too young to play this, and Donkey Kong Country 1 and Donkey Kong Country 2. I played Donkey Kong Country 3 years later, way after it was relevant. To be honest, I didn't know it existed as a kid. I learned about it when it came out on the Wii Virtual Console, which, to be fair, I was still a kid then, but I played Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 before I could count, and I played Donkey Kong Country 3 when I could actually count to like 10 or something. You also might hear a little bit more controller noise. I don't know. I am trying to play with the controller not being super loud, but I thought, hey, let's use the Nintendo 64 Switch Online controller thing, because it's nostalgia. Now, the thing is that I did play this game with a Nintendo 64 controller back in the day, but most recently when I've played Donkey Kong 64, it was on the Wii U Virtual Console. And I did not use a Nintendo 64 controller. I used, it must have been a Wii U gamepad, either a Wii U gamepad or a Wii U Pro controller, which is not the same at all as using a Nintendo 64 controller. It's kind of weird. I've had this it's not a criticism, but this thought with the Switch Online controller replicas where, they feel good, they feel very similar to the originals, but I have so little nostalgia. Oh, that's just telling me which ones I have to hit. How do I leave this view? No? Okay, there we go. I have so little nostalgia for these controllers being so new. Most of my time with like Nintendo 64 controllers, most of that came from, what button do I press? It's B. Okay. most of that time was spent with these controllers being like really worn out. So like the Nintendo 64 online controller, the one that I have, it has a really nice analog stick because it's hardly been used, and the one that I have from when I was a kid is not at all in good condition. So it's funny because like the same for Rumble. I might have Rumble turned off in the Nintendo 64 online app because I never had Rumble with the Nintendo 64 controller as a kid. Just never got a Rumble pack. So to me, the Rumble is kind of distracting. It's funny because like with GameCube games, I play GameCube games with Rumble all the time. So I have Rumble turned on in the GameCube online app, but not Nintendo 64 because it ruins my nostalgic immersion. And the nostalgic immersion is like the whole point to having one of these controllers. Although with Nintendo 64 games there are... This grass is physical. How quirky. With Nintendo 64 games there are more reasons to have this controller because the button layout is kind of unique to the Nintendo 64. So yeah, there are reasons other than nostalgia with this one. And to be fair, the same is true of the GameCube one. So maybe they all make sense to have, except I still think the NES and the Super Nintendo are a little bit less necessary, especially the Super Nintendo one, because like all Switch controllers have the same button layout as the Super Nintendo controller. Let's see, how do I... Did I do it? No? Really? Which one did I miss? There was one down here, wasn't there? It's been a long time since I played this game. The game gave me the controls tutorial, and I really appreciated it. Okay, there is one there. I thought I hit that, but I guess I didn't. Man, I can't tell. I have the game set to use widescreen, but I feel like it's kind of off. I've always kind of felt that with Donkey Kong 64, where the widescreen implementation, I feel like it just stretches the game, but I'm probably wrong. I don't know. Let's do a little test. Let's go and take a screenshot. All right, and then let's make a restore point so I can line it up properly. And then we have this one. Take a screenshot. And what do we get? Uh-huh. Okay, nope, it is not just stretching. You can see on the right side of the picture that it does actually show more of the mountain, so it's worth doing it in 16:9. It's worth it. That was a lot of garbage to go through to find that out. So I think I kind of started talking about this game's reputation and didn't really go into it, and that's kind of a bad habit of mine. This game, like I said earlier, it has its fans, but it goes a little bit off the rails with like the collectathon elements. One of the mechanics that people kind of don't like, more so in retrospect, I don't think people really had a problem with this at the time, but you can see over here there is this thing that is called, oh, it doesn't say, it's a tag barrel, I believe is what it's called, and you can see I can switch between Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong, and then there are 3 more to unlock, and basically every collectible in the game except golden bananas, which are... Mario 64 has stars as the main collectible, Donkey Kong 64 has golden bananas, and other than golden bananas, basically everything in the game is like Kong specific. So there are some items that I can pick up as Diddy Kong. I saw a few red bananas. They might have been over here, but I don't think so. But there are some red bananas around. Those can be picked up by Diddy. Those cannot be picked up by Donkey Kong. And so, yeah, golden. That's not golden. That's red. Those were red bananas there. Those could be picked up by Diddy. If I went to them as Donkey Kong, they would have been transparent, essentially, to say you can't pick those up. And there are 5 characters, and each... Oh, it's another example. This is a little event, and these are banana coins, I think, that are also yellow, which means DK can pick them up, Diddy cannot. So the swapping mechanic, it gets kind of old to a lot of people. I agree. You know, I certainly agree that it does get a bit monotonous. I think that if they cut the character count down by 1 or 2, it would have been better. One of the things that kind of annoys me is a strong word, but there is a mod for Donkey Kong 64 that makes it so you can swap characters on the fly. It binds it to the D-pad. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with those kinds of like ROM hack types of things existing. You know, there is an audience for that. My problem is that a lot of people kind of see that as like the definitive way to play Donkey Kong 64, and I feel like it takes something away. Like, yeah, it adds something. It adds functionality to the game, and it takes away some of the monotony, but it also takes away some of the game design, and I don't know, I just feel like you're making changes at that point that go beyond the desired vision, I suppose. And if you don't care and you just want to play a good version of the game, that's fine. It's just something that I don't really like when people talk like, oh, it's the best way to play Donkey Kong 64, because you're kind of not playing Donkey Kong 64 at that point. Like, yeah, it's irritating to come here and go, I can't get these, but that's part of the game. And I feel like if you play Donkey Kong 64 and you take away that mechanic, you're not having the same experience as everyone else. And to some people, yeah, you're having a better experience. I don't know. Different differences. That being said, I don't know what to do, because something else that is Kong specific, I believe, I might be wrong. Nope, I'm right. Donkey Kong, if I press Z and the left C button, he has a gun, a coconut gun that fires in spurts, and if it shoots you. If one of those things shoots you, it's gonna hurt. Diddy Kong also gets a gun, but he doesn't have it right now. And so if I go into the place where you get a gun, oh, it costs 3 coins, and I have 0 coins for Diddy, even though I have some for Donkey Kong. And that's one of the things. And again, that's true of every single Kong. Every Kong needs to buy the gun. Every Kong needs to buy every upgrade that you can get. Oh, even the golden bananas! I did not realize that. Yeah, this is a golden banana, but it can only be picked up by Donkey Kong. That's crazy. Okay, this game does stink. That's a joke. I still like this game. Let's see. How do I get... So I picked up 2 banana coins, assuming that's what they are called. But where do I get a 3rd? It's another red banana. Actually, I have enough bananas now that I can demonstrate another thing that is sort of Kong specific. Let me see what's up here first. Donkey Kong banana. Alright, you know what? I'm starting to see the problem. Yeah, it's kind of irritating. I'm irritated, and I've just started the game. I do still like this game. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. And I think that's kind of the big difference maker. If you have not played Banjo-Kazooie yet, which is another Nintendo 64 era 3D platformer, if you play Banjo-Kazooie, you will find a very, very good game. That is true regardless of the age of the game. if you play Donkey Kong 64 and you haven't played Donkey Kong 64, I don't think you'll have the same experience. I think you'll have a bit of a rougher time with it. Now, you may have noticed I switched to Donkey Kong instead of staying as Diddy Kong. Let's go ahead and switch to Diddy Kong because I have, between the two of them, I have enough bananas to open the door. You have to feed the bananas to the blue hippo, which does that to the pig. These are ugly characters. And oh, it randomly selects a character, quote unquote. No, it's not random, it has a predetermined order. So, okay, that's a Donkey Kong thing, right? You know, so, sure, you know, oh, wait, if you go in as the wrong character, it doesn't work. You have to... And it makes sense, but again, it is one of those things where the Tag Anywhere mod that I mentioned not really being a huge fan of, it solves one problem, and it solves a major problem, but I think that it introduces a little bit too much unintended gameplay, and that part of it I just don't really like. It's a boss battle. One of the things that's kind of interesting in Donkey Kong 64 as well is that you have bosses in each level, but they don't really signify the end of the level. So like once I beat this guy, I can keep exploring the level. There's more stuff to unlock, more bananas to collect, more things to do. I have to get Diddy his gun. Something that I am kind of interested in, I mentioned earlier I am not a speedrunner. That being said, I know a little bit about the speedrun for Donkey Kong 64. Namely, I know that Donkey Kong 64, it depends on frame rate issues, for the route, I mean, for the speedrun route. So I am curious what the game's frame rate is like on the Switch. I will say I am running this on the Switch 2, but I don't think that matters for the performance of Nintendo 64 games. I'm pretty sure the frame rate's going to be the same on the Switch or the Switch 2. It doesn't matter. So, I am curious. I am not qualified to answer that. I'm sure there have been or will be videos and live streams of Donkey Kong 64 speedrunners trying things out, finding out what works and what doesn't. I saw that with Ocarina of Time videos when the Nintendo 64 app first came out, and I will say, it was not in a good state when it first came out. I got the key. No, I lost my barrel. Not the barrel. Man, as a kid, this game was terrifying. Even the door disappearing like that, even that was spooky to me as a kid. Alright, I would like to... Well, first I should get the golden banana. Okay, so that opens the gates. I was wondering about that. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've played this game, so... there is something else that spooked me as a kid, that's why I was wanting to open the gate, because one specific little area that just, like, for a kid, it was a jump scare. Like, I remember seeing videos on YouTube of, like, the scary maze game. Don't look it up, it's a jump scare. Look it up if you want to, but that's on you. This shouldn't be a jump scare. This is just video game graphics. So, here's the thing. Keep in mind, young child. I was very young when this game came out. I'm sure I didn't play this game when it first came out, but this cave here, very dark. I'm trying to avoid what it is. So, you know, you come through the cave. Over there it's a stinging thunderstorm. And you turn right, and you're going up here, and it's this spooky graphic. And as a kid, this was a jump scare. I hated it. And to be fair, it still kind of gave me goosebumps, and that's kind of pathetic. These guys are another case of Kong specificality, because he has blue hair, and I'm gonna die. He drops a blueprint. This was when I first learned about the word blueprint, and I was confused as to why there were... Oh, it's gone. I was confused as to why there were blue ones when it has the word blue in it. There are colored blueprints in the game that you can collect, and they give you something. Basically, at the very end of the game, they help you with, like, the final boss or something like that. And those blueprints are also color specific, and each level has 5 of them, I believe. So, yeah. Enjoy. This game has a reputation, and I will say it kind of deserves it. I like this game, but kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, if you haven't played Banjo-Kazooie yet, you should play it. And if you haven't played Donkey Kong 64 before, yeah, I would say play it, but I would say don't expect a masterpiece. It definitely, I would say, suffers from being an experimental game. The 90s were full of very experimental 3D games. No one really knew what to expect, like what would work for the future of 3D games. So they just kind of tried things. The late 90s especially, with Donkey Kong 64 and Sonic Adventure being good examples, they really liked to have their multiple playable characters, and not always for the better. I am going to demonstrate real quick. Another thing about this section that really spooked me as a child, I was very sheltered. That thing, that graphic, and I don't have game audio, but I'm pretty sure it laughed. Terrifying, because it just comes out of nowhere. There's no warning that it's about to just flash a big old no sign on your screen. Actually, I even thought that it was further in the cave. That's why I was talking over it. And especially because, like, it's really just right in there. Like, you have to come here as Rambi. That's what the big old Rambi head is showing, is that you have to come here as Rambi to destroy it, but the controls are being, Oh, you have to charge it, don't you? How do you do that? How do you charge? Oh, you hold Z. Alright. That's weird. What even is that? Okay, you charge with Z, and then you press B to charge your charge, or to use your charge, I guess. What's in this? Is it... Oh, it's another collectible! I don't have what I need for this. This is a banana fairy, I believe, and you get a camera you can use to take pictures of them. I can't remember what they're for. I know you bring the pictures into, like, the Queen Banana Fairy or whatever, but I don't know what that actually does for you. I can't remember. There's too many collectibles in this game. That's kind of the main criticism people have for it. That is Tiny Kong. I can't use that as Donkey Kong. That is Lanky Kong. I can't use that as Donkey Kong. I see green bananas. That means it's Donkey Kong. Oh, okay. Gave me banana. Wow. I thought it was going to give me a timer. I'm glad it didn't. Yeah, we're also, we're not going to be completing this level because I would have to unlock all of the characters to 100% complete this level. That's not going to happen. But we can at least do the first trip, and probably, to be honest, I'm not going to 100% the first trip to, was it Jungle Hijinks? Does it say anywhere? Jungle Japes, okay. Probably not going to 100% it in any regard. We're just having a little time, a little jaunt through the jungle. Something that I did want to mention, because this just came up, there is a new game, kind of. It's not really a game, but it is a really stupidly good time for, or a stupidly good year, I'll say, for the Switch 2 when it comes to 90s games, I guess? Staple 90s games, because this game just came out on the Switch 2, Switch/Switch 2. Star Fox 64 remake coming out this month now, I think it is. And what was just announced was a port. It's a emulation thing. It's not like a native port, but it's a re-release of the Toy Story 2 game, which was released on the PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64. And that is coming to the Switch and Switch 2, along with a few other PS1 games. And it's just, man, we're getting to a point where there's a lot of, like, the good stuff from the 90s is starting to show up again, and I'm really happy about that. I know that I've been very critical of this game in particular, and it deserves it, but it's still fun. It's still something that, as a stupid nostalgic 90s kid, slash early 2000s kid, I like it. I like this game. Let's see. I'm gonna be Diddy, because I need to buy Diddy a gun. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I need to... Never mind, Diddy's not getting a gun yet. We are gonna go ahead and do this, because I don't know if there's anything else for DK in this level after I do this. There probably is, because it is Donkey Kong 64. That's how this game rolls. Now, I will say that I was wondering about the frame rate earlier. The frame rate is definitely not, like, 60 frames per second, probably ever. I don't know what they target with the frame rate. Because sometimes the way that games work when they're brought to, or running on, like, modern emulators, essentially, is they will target like 20 frames per second or something like that. Something that is close enough to like what the game would run at. So like Donkey Kong 64, if it ran at say they ran it at 60 frames per second, because the Switch can run Nintendo 64 games at 60 frames per second, that's not a problem. The problem is that Donkey Kong 64, like a lot of 90s games, the physics are tied to the frame rate. So I'll give a quick example of that. I still don't have a gun as Diddy. So let's say jumping as Diddy, just for the sake of example. In modern games, most well-programmed modern games, the game could be running at 10 frames per second or 120 frames per second, and the arc of Diddy's jump would be the same. This game is not programmed that way. This game is programmed in a way that Diddy's jump basically says, for a certain number of frames, go up, and then after that number of frames is done, go back down. So if you're running at 20 frames per second, that is going to be, you're going to have a certain number of frames of him going up, and then that's going to be consistent. I'm explaining this probably not very well, but when you say run the game at 60 frames per second, you're essentially cutting the logic time. Yeah, I am explaining this badly, aren't I? There's science. Also, this guy's yellow. Isn't yellow Donkey Kong? Okay, you know what? Wait, is it yellow or is it green? That's another problem. This game has a really cool lighting system, and it's genuinely very cool. But it means I can't tell my yellows from my greens, and I swear I'm not colorblind. I don't think I'm colorblind. That's one of those things that I've taken those online tests where they're like, can you differentiate between color A and color B? And I'm like, well, yeah. The problem with those tests is that they kind of depend on how good your monitor is. So, like, if you're using a cheap CRT from the 90s, it's not going to have very good color accuracy. If you're using a cheap, modern flat screen computer screen or TV especially, you're going to have even less color accuracy. If you're using a cell phone, you might be okay, because smartphones tend to have pretty good screens. But at the same time, you might actually be colorblind, which, yeah, that's the thing. I don't think I qualify as colorblind. I know I've done tone deaf tests and I've come out okay. Tone deafness is a funny thing, because it's one of those things where, as someone who is not tone deaf, I cannot comprehend being tone deaf. It's like, I feel for people who are, because like, it's like I am someone who wears glasses, and I feel like I couldn't really describe what it's like to see without glasses to someone who doesn't need glasses. It's like, I can take my glasses off, and then I can't see a dang thing in front of me. Someone else, like, if you don't need glasses, and you just look ahead, it looks clear. Wow. Like, I can't see without my glasses, and I can't describe what it's like to people. I did it. I got a red print. Oh, see, okay. Yeah, this is another example. That thing was just for Diddy. That blueprint was for Diddy. You come a little bit further in here, and that's a yellow coin. So you have to go in here as Donkey Kong now. But... oh, I thought I saw another red banana. Nope, never mind. Oh, hey. It's the jump scare room. Okay, does Diddy get anything from Cranky? I mean, Diddy still doesn't have enough coins for anything. So if Cranky's gonna charge Diddy a price, Diddy Kong's gotta say no. Oh, he has got coins now. Okay. What is it? What do I get? Is it Buttisbashium? No, it's Chimpy Charge. Oh, Chimpy Charge! Does that have a single use in this level? I might have just wasted my stupid coins, because now I can't afford a gun. But if I bought a gun, I would be able to do more stuff in the level. Let me see, do I have... okay, I have the ground pound as Diddy, so... as Donkey Kong, you have to buy the ground pound. That's done in an earlier part of the game. Okay, there's a Diddy doohickey here. What does it do for him? Okay, it's that. I was wondering about that. I saw that gate, and I was like, how do you open that? Oh, this one gives you a timer. Why does this game hate me? Signed every 10-year-old in the year 2000 or whatever. I think this was a 90... ooh, was this 2000? It was a late Nintendo 64 game. I want to say 99. I know Ocarina of Time was 1998. And I feel like it would have been kind of weird to do Ocarina of Time in 98, and that's not where the gun store is. Where's the gun store? Oh wait, the gun store was right down here. I made it complicated. No. I don't think this game would have been 99 if Ocarina of Time was 98. Boy, Nintendo 64 got some good games, though, in not a huge amount of time. Again, I talk like this game is really, really good. This game is really, really nostalgic. That's really what it comes down to. But like, 1996, 96 had Mario 64. That was when the Nintendo 64 launched. I don't know what 97 was. 97 was probably something. Might have been Banjo-Kazooie or something like that. And then 98 was Ocarina of Time. That's one of the things that's really sad, is that people are always talking about how, like, video games right now, they take so long to make. And back in the 90s, there were so many good games. Like this one, which I keep complaining about. Yeah. I'm not actually sure how much of the level there is left to play. I did the controls bad. I will say, if you are not interested in playing Donkey Kong 64, I would still recommend you look up the game's soundtrack. Again, I'm not playing with audio, so I am not listening to the soundtrack right now, but I have heard it many times growing up. It's a good soundtrack. It's a very, very good soundtrack. I think there are probably a lot of songs you have heard, like in the backgrounds of YouTube videos, that you might not know what they're from, and the answer is they're from this. Not all of them. Some of them are from Celeste. A lot of them are from Celeste. I found that out very recently. I have not played Celeste, and I keep hearing a song and being like, oh, what's that from? It sounds nice, and it's Celeste. What? Oh. It took some time. It's weird that this doesn't have a timer. Like, usually when the game does something that's like a time-limited thing, it gives you a timer. Not this. Also, my goodness, the collision. Fragile. Dynamite? Oh, for Pete's sake. Oh dear. Something that I did realize, and I think this is a problem with this game. I could be wrong. The platforming is not very precise. It's like, if I walk really slowly, that's barely tilting the analog stick, and it's kind of fast for barely tilting the stick. No! How do we get up there? I'm sure that's the intended way. It's just kind of funny for the intended way to be so tricky. So very slightly tricky. It's the place to do the charge thing. Wow, there is a use. That was not good. That was fine. No, please. Is there nothing else in this room? It's just the speed control? Oh, he's behind the gate. Okay. Ah! Stupid zinger! Okay, I need to check something because I need to find out if I am going insane. Let's overwrite that restore point. I need to go into. We're gonna check out a quick little round of Mario 64 because I need to make sure if my controls are actually like not stupid or yes stupid because they feel pretty stupid. This speedrun file. No, it's absolutely fine in Mario 64. The analog feels fine in this game. It's just janky in Donkey Kong. Yeah, definitely the. I know people talk a lot about like Ocarina of Time has no. Oopsies. Ocarina of Time is a game that people talk a lot about the first person aiming not being very good. And this is definitely another game that the first-person aiming is not very good. It's not very precise. It's weird, because like, it's one of those things where there are all these things, and they're very nitpicky. I'm gonna make that point clear. I am nitpicking a bit, you know, it's not like I think, oh, well, why isn't this perfect? Every other Nintendo 64 game did this perfect, because that's not true at all. But it is kind of weird that, you know, Ocarina of Time, you know, it has its flaws. Mario 64 has its flaws. Banjo-Kazooie has its flaws. The thing that's funny is that I feel like this game, in retrospect, feels a lot less polished than a lot of those games. Like, even Banjo-Kazooie, which predates this game, I'm pretty sure, even Banjo-Kazooie feels a lot more polished than this game does, which is really, really weird. Okay, let's let's actually get one of the melon slices too while I'm here. What happened earlier, by the way, I realized this is a timed thing, so the gate opens for a limited time. I didn't realize it was going to be that way, and so I I was kind of taking my sweet time. Turns out I shouldn't have been, and I wanted to throw an explosive orange thing at one of those guys. Turns out I shouldn't have done that because the gate closed on me and blew me up. Oh. And then I depth perceptioned into a pit. Man, even these guys respawn. That's so irritating. Can I shoot that? Is it gonna hurt? Alright, cool. I think this is what the speed control was for earlier. So, like, earlier I hit low. Hold on, doesn't it? I swear there was something about, like, you can just, like, stay in place. Maybe it's that. I don't know. Oh, wait. No, it's right there. Okay. you can stand here and you don't get scooshed, which is funny. Because I died the speed reset. If I'm not mistaken, that's what happened. Man, the depth perception is just not good. Is Donkey Kong 64 a bad video game? There's my clickbait title. Answer. I don't know. Depends. Wait. What? Wait, what? What am I supposed to do with that? Am I supposed to source engine strafe around that thing? Alright, let's go ahead and hit the slow button again. So we hit low. Okay, so yeah, that's what that does. Now I just need to figure out what to do about the thing that was blocking me earlier. To be fair, changing the speed does not fix the depth perception. The depth perception is still very, very bad. Wait. Okay, why does changing the speed change the grate? The crystal coconuts. That's another collectible this game has. Why do you need those? Why would you need the crystal coconuts going into the minecart? Oh boy, it's a minecart thing. I don't know what people think of the minecart things, other than it being very reminiscent of the Donkey Kong Country TV show. To be fair, so are crystal coconuts. That's one thing that I haven't mentioned yet, is there are a lot of references to, I'm gonna say, this game in the Donkey Kong Country TV show, which is kind of weird because it's not Donkey Kong Country, it's just Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong lore. Did I take damage there or not? I am not sure. I'll be honest with you, I've always kind of felt like the minecart sections are a bit of a fever dream. Oh no. How many of these did I need? Is it 50? Oh, good grief, this game's hard. Oh dear. Dang it. It is funny because I can see like level design stuff that I never noticed as a kid. As a kid, and this is one of the things, as a kid, my thing with Donkey Kong 64 was, with minecart levels especially, is just hold forward to get through fast. You know, that's sort of what my mentality was. So all of the like tells, all of the telegraphed stuff, I missed it all. I was too young. I was too stupid. Donkey Kong 64 was too hard for 10-year-old me. That's true, but I don't know why I said 10. I was younger than that. Well, I was 3 or so when this game came out. That's why I say I don't think I played this game when it first came out, because I was not very good at video games as a very young child. You could say I'm still not. And I would say, well, that's rude, but yeah, you're probably right. Well, I know the last thing that I did was doing a little minecart ride, but I think that's it. I think I've pretty much done everything there is to do in this level on this trip. Like I said earlier, I think, I certainly meant to say it earlier, this is not going to be a series. This is a little one-part thing because it's been a while since I've done a video, and I wanted to get something out, and this was something that it came out, and I thought, yeah, that's as good a background footage as anything else. Thanks for watching, and if you want to watch more Donkey Kong stuff, watch the Donkey Kong Bonanza video I did, probably, it was several months ago, when the DK Isle DLC came out for Donkey Kong Bonanza, because I did a video on it, and I enjoyed it somewhat. I also talked about a Nintendo Direct in that is now very out of date. That whole video is now very out of date, which is awesome. Bye.